Hello, welcome to this video. In this video, we are going to explore some of the properties of the DFT. Now, if you remember that the DFT is actually related to the DTFT in the sense that it's a sample version of the DTFT, but to understand the properties better, you must realize that the DFT is actually the discrete Fourier series obtained by taking Xn and then repeating it at periods of n. So, if you replicate it and then find the discrete Fourier series, we call that the discrete Fourier transform. So, we are basically going to assume that all sequences below into xn, yn defined, or rather let me not say defined, I'll say they are 0 for n outside of 0, 1, 2 up to n minus 1. So, they are 0 outside these. Okay. So, the first property that we are going to explore is linearity. Okay. So, what does linearity imply? Let us suppose that xn has a DFT of capital Xk. Of course, n point DFT, yn has a DFT of capital Yk. In that case, for any two complex numbers alpha and beta, alpha xn plus beta yn will have DTFT alpha xk plus beta yk. So, this is what this is actually what the linearity property is. This is very easy to verify. All you need to do is to substitute it in the formula for the DFT. I leave that as an exercise. The second property is that of circular shift. Now, this is actually unique to DFTs in the sense there is a difference between this and the DTFT, but basically if you take x of n minus n naught modulo capital N, if you take x of n minus n naught modulo capital N, then this has DTFT e power minus j 2 pi k n naught divided by capital N multiplied by xk. So, you can actually understand this by looking at the sampled version of the DTFT, because it's essentially if you delay, you are delaying the periodic sequence. Remember, your xn is actually periodic, that is why this x of n minus n naught mod n is actually a circular shift. So, when this part goes out, the other part starts coming in. So, the e power minus j 2 pi k n naught takes the place of e power minus j omega n naught. So, how do you understand this? So, I will give you a simple example. Let us take a particular case. Let us actually, let us say, take x of n minus 2 modulo n and prove that this is indeed what you get, e power minus j 2 pi k into 2 upon n into xk. So, if you now find the DTFT of this, that is going to be the summation n runs from 0 to n minus 1 e power minus j 2 pi k n upon n. Now, I am going to, since it's n minus 2, I am going to handle the first two terms separately. So, I am going to write the first term, which is what you get when you put n is 0, as its minus 2 mod n, which can be written as n minus 2 into e power j 0. But notice that I am being very, I am going to play a trick. I am going to write as e power j 2 pi k n upon n. Okay, there is a reason why I am doing this, which will become clear. Plus the last the next term will be when you put n is equal to 1, 1 minus 2 is minus 1, so you will get x of n minus 1 e power j 2 pi, it will be e power minus j 2 pi k upon n. That is the, because that is what you will have in the first term. So, if you remember the formula, your xk is actually summation, capital Xk is summation xk e power minus j 2 pi k n upon n. So, I have to put small n is equal to 1, you will get minus j 2 pi k by n. But again, I am going to rewrite this in a very special way. I am going to rewrite this as, actually I think I will I'll leave this for a minute, okay, plus the third term will be x0, and you'll have e power minus j 2 pi k into 2 upon n. Notice this is the term which has to come out. Now since this is the term which has to come out, I'm actually going to need some extra term which comes here, which will account for that, okay. So I'll do that in a smart way, plus I'll have x1 e power minus j 2 pi k into 3 upon n plus dot dot dot, and the last term over here is going to be capital Xn minus 3 e power minus j 2 pi k into n minus 1 upon n. Now I want actually in the normal normal DFT, I would want e power minus j 2 pi k n minus 3 upon here. I want 0 here, I want 1 here, but there's an extra offset of minus 2. So if I really want to take this common, take this minus 2 common, what I need to do is I will take e power minus j 2 pi k into, I think I'll have to stick a minus here, k into 2 upon n. I'm going to take it as common, which will yield, the first one is going to touch n minus 2, and I have taken e power minus j 2 pi k 2 out. So this is going to be e power, what remains is e power minus j 2 pi k n minus 2 upon n, which is indeed what I want. So over here, instead of writing it as e power minus j 2 pi k n minus 1, I'm going to actually write, instead of writing it as directly as 1, I'm going to write it as, so over here I had minus 2 pi k n, I took k out, so over here I'm going to have n plus 1. I'm going to write it in this way, because remember, addition of e power j 2 pi k n upon n, that's just multiplication by 1. So over here, if I now start taking that term out, I'll get plus x n minus 1, I take 2 away from here, e power minus j 2 pi k n minus 1 upon n, plus the third term is x0, e power minus j 2 pi k 2 by n is exactly what was taken out, plus x1, this 3 I have to take 2 out, e power minus j 2 pi k upon n, and so on, and the last term is xn minus 3 e power minus j 2 pi k n minus 3 upon n. Now what is in the bracket is just e power minus j 2 pi k into 2 upon n xk. So now I have done this for 2, you can do this for any n naught. So that's basically the key. So I'll maybe write this more clearly. This is e power minus j 2 pi k so n naught upon n. You could also use the property of the you could also use the property of the DFT to get this, but this is a more direct way to do it. Okay, so this is about the circular shift. Okay, the third one I'm going to cover is circular convolution. This is actually a very special property. Okay, so remember, this is what we are saying is, because you are dealing with sequences which are actually periodic extensions, your convolution, when you perform convolution, you have to essentially flip and then overlap, but one of the sequence you have to look at the repetitions. I'll give you an example. We are going to keep the length of the sequences the same. So I'm going to take the sequence 1, 2, 3 and 4, and then I'm going to take the sequence 2 minus 1, and because I want to keep the length same, 0, 0. So these are two sequences. If I want to perform the convolution, it is very easy. You can just write 1, 2, 3, 4, and you have to flip the second sequence. So you will write minus 1 and 2. If you do minus 1, 2 and add, you are going to get 2 multiplied by 1 plus minus 1 multiplied by 0, you will get this 2. Next, you put minus 1, 2 over here, 2 2s are 4, minus 1 is 3. Okay, next you put it over here, 3 2s are 6, minus 2 is 4, and finally 2, 4 2s are 8, minus 3 is 5, and there's another term over here, so this is going to give me minus 4. So this is what you would get if you performed linear convolution. Let me maybe just check it. Okay, so Okay, so I to just to verify, let's say x is 1 2 3 4, y is essentially 2 minus 1 0 0, np dot convolve, that indeed yields 2 3 4 5 minus 4, which is what I get. Okay. Now when you perform circular convolution, what are you saying? Let us say that xn has dtft xk, yn has dtft yk. So if you now look at the inverse dtft of xk multiplied by yk, this is going to be xn circularly convolved with yn. Okay. What does this mean? This means that instead of performing the convolution in this traditional manner, I am going to write 1 2 3 4, and then I am going to write the periodic extension also. So 4 3 2 1 1 2 3 4. Now if I want to perform the convolution, I am going to perform the same steps but with this new sequence. So I am going to 2 minus 1, 2 plus, so 2 minus 4 is minus 2, then I will put 2 minus 1 here, 2 2s are 4, I will get 3, then I will put 2 minus 1 here, 3 2s are 6, I get 4, and finally I will put 2 minus 1 here, 4 2s are 8, 8 minus 3 is 5. Okay. And again if I put 2 minus 1 here, it is the same as what I would have got here. I get the periodic extension of this. So 2 minus 4 is minus 2, and so on again. So essentially this is what you should get, and this is why when you deal with the DFT, you should always keep in the back of your mind that the DFT is actually just the discrete Fourier series coefficients of the periodic extension. If you don't believe me, just have a look at this. Capital X np dot FFT of x, capital Y is, and if you now do np dot FFT dot IFFT of x into y, you get minus 2 3 4 5, which is exactly what I got, and then it's periodic. A trick to perform is if you perform the linear convolution and bring the parts which come after the nth term over here and add them up, you will get the circular convolution. So it's called overlap and add. You can actually bring back the tail and bring it over here. That is something which you can check. Okay. So this is again a very interesting and important property which is different from what you would observe in the case of different from what you would observe in the case of the DTFT. Okay. The next property I would like you to look at is duality. So you know that in Fourier, many of these Fourier transforms you have this duality, right? So when you have xn and that's xk, okay, the question is, what if you interpreted xn as a sequence? Okay, it turns out that it will be capital N multiplied by x of minus n modulo n. Okay, this is what you get. So this is actually a very interesting result. Minus n modulo n means it's actually the reversal, but remember the zeroth element remains where it is. The other elements become reversed. I think it's best explained by an example. X is 1 2 3 4. Let me say capital X is the FFT, and let me take the FFT of capital X. So I get 4 16 12 8. Essentially there is an n times multiplication. So let me divide by 4. I get 1 4 3 2. Let me just do an np dot real just for convenience. I get 1 4 3 2 and the original sequence is 1 2 3 4. Why does this happen? This happens because when you reverse the sequence, you reverse the periodic sequence. So when you have 1 2 3 4 and you have another because the periodic extension, you have 4 3 2 1. So if you now look at the reverse sequence is actually this one. Sorry, I'm sorry. Okay, the zeroth one remains the same. So reverse sequence is actually this one. Sorry, I think I should be very careful. The reverse sequence is this one, interpreted in this direction. So the first value will be 1, the second value will be 4, the third value will be 3, the fourth value will be 2. Or if you look at this minus n mod n, when you say minus n, when n is 0, you get the 0 value. When n is 1, you get, you get it's minus 1 mod n. Minus 1 mod n gives you the n minus 1th value. When n is 2, you get n minus 2th value, and so on. So how do you prove this property? This property is not very difficult to prove. See, what you need to do is you need to find the DFT of this. So that is summation xn e power minus j 2 pi kn upon n. N runs from 0 to n minus 1. But the definition of xn itself is summation n runs from 0 to n minus 1, and we'll use L to define it. L runs from 0 to n minus 1. xl e power minus j 2 pi n L upon, let me be very careful. So I need sk, sorry. So I have xn, yes, this is n L upon n into e power minus j 2 pi k n upon n. Now the trick, and I want you to try this on your own, the trick is to prove that if you find the summation using this, you will find that most of the terms go to 0 except for the case when n is equal to minus L. N is equal to minus L. For that case alone, you will get the summation to be n, and that's why you can show that this is going to turn out to be x of f n minus n. Of course, this is a modulo n. That is basically what happens. So the duality essentially translates to minus n modulo n. So it's like when you have this duality, if you take the DFT of the DFT, you get the same sequence reversed in a cyclic fashion. So that is something which you need to be very careful about. Okay. Okay. So I want to discuss some special, let's say symmetry properties. These are things which you can derive on your own, but I'll give you some examples. So if you look at the symmetry properties, what you have is, if you take xn and let's say it has DTFT, sorry, it has DFT capital Xk. Let's take x star n. Now x star n is interesting. Okay, what do you have? So I think to find out, you just substitute its summation x star n e power minus j 2 pi k n upon n. N runs from 0 to n minus 1. Sorry about this. And this, you can take the conjugate outside. So this is summation xn e power plus j 2 pi k n by n. I'm going to write it as minus j 2 pi n into minus k upon n. N runs from 0 to n minus 1 whole conjugate, and this can be shown to be just x star of minus k, of course, mod n. Even the DTFT has the mod n property. So it's x star of minus k mod n. Okay, this is what happens when you take a conjugate. Similarly, suppose you have an even sequence. Now the thing with even sequences is that you have to define it carefully. What is an even sequence? An even sequence is something that satisfies x of n is equal to x star of minus n modulo n. Okay, that means that if you look at it on the other side or wrap around with n, it's even. Okay, in such a situation, it's easy to show that the DFT will be real. This is similar to the DTFT property, which you can infer directly. Of course, you can infer it, but if you really want to prove it, it's very easy. Basically, if xn satisfies this, then have a look. You have x0. This is the formula for the DFT. Minus 2 pi k n upon n plus x2, of course I should just say by k, x2 e power minus j 2 pi into k into 2 upon n plus dot 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 plus, and I am going to assume n is even, plus x n minus 1 e power minus j 2 pi k n minus 1 upon n. But notice that we have the case that if you put n as 1, you actually get minus 1 mod n, which is n minus 1, and that's conjugate even. So basically, you if I group this term and this term, you get x0 plus, and because it's okay, I think x0 will maybe, okay, sorry, x0 will keep aside. If you group x1 and xn minus 1, if you put n as 1, x1 is x star of n minus 1 because of the modulo operation. So you will get x0 plus x1 plus x star of 1. How do I get x star of 1? Xn minus 1 is actually x star of 1. That's exactly how I get it. Okay, into e and you have e power minus j 2 pi k n by n. Okay, maybe I'll write it more carefully. This is plus x1 e power minus j 2 pi k upon n plus x star of 1 e power, and over here the term is e power minus j 2 pi k n upon n. There is a, if you take the n out, it becomes e power plus j 2 pi k by n. So these two add up to be real because this is just something plus the conjugate, plus x2 if you group e power minus j 2 pi k 2 upon n, plus again you will have x of my n minus 2 will be x2 conjugate e power plus j 2 pi k by 2 by n, plus dot dot dot, and the x n by 2 term alone we will keep aside. It will have e power minus j 2 pi k n by 2 n, and this will turn out to be minus 1 power k, which is also a real term. So if you have even sequence, the DFT will be real. This can be verified very easily. How? You take a sequence like this. Let's say even sequence means, of course, x0 has to be x0 star, so we'll keep it as real. Simply xn by 2 has to be real. 2 plus j2, and we'll take this as 4, and 2 minus j2. This is an even sequence. I'm sorry, I should write 2j. Okay. Now if I do np dot fft dot fft of x, you see that all the values are real. Okay, this is very obvious because it's conjugate even, because if you look at x1 and x minus 1 is actually x of 4 minus 1, which is, sorry, x minus 1 modulo 4 is actually x of so this is x0, x1, x2, x3. So 2 plus 2j and x3 will be 2 minus 2j, so it's real. Similarly, if you have an odd sequence, you have the DFT to be purely imaginary. How? Very easy. So for example, if you take this sequence 0, no, let's say 1j, 2 minus 2j, 3j, 2 plus 2j. This is an odd sequence because if you basically take x of minus, if you take the x minus n star, you get, so basically let me put it this way, if you look at x minus n star, it is minus xn. That will be a property over here. If you look at the FFT here, okay, I think the reason is because I made a slight error over here. Sorry for this. Yeah. Okay. Okay, I have to make it odd. I'm very sorry. So I have to make it odd, meaning I should actually just do it this way. So it should be odd, meaning it should be negative over here and positive over, negative over here. So that is an odd sequence. Now if you look at the FFT of this sequence, you will find that it is 0, minus 6j, plus 8j, 2j. This is an odd sequence because if you look at x of minus n modulo n star, that will be negative of x n. So this is an odd sequence, and for odd sequences you have purely imaginary DFTs. This is also something that you can verify. Okay. Now there's one more property, okay, or rather one more interesting aspect of the DFT that I want you to know, that is, you can perform linear convolution using DFTs. How do you perform linear convolution using DFTs? It's very simple. All you need to do is you take xn, whose length is n, basically is defined from 0 to n minus 1, take yn of length m, 0 pad to make both of them lengths m plus n minus 1, and then use DFT and plus IDFT to get the convolution. So you perform DFT, perform the circular convolution, but by 0 padding you will prevent any of the overlaps from happening. Let's take an example. Let's say 1, 2, 3, 4, and we'll take 2, 1, minus 1, these two sequences. So the length over here is 4, the length over here is 3, we need a length 6 sequence. So I am just going to do it numerically. Okay, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, y is 2, 1, minus 1, but I need to pad them to make the length 6. So now if I perform the FFT and IFFT, and if I now look at T of probability of multiplication, oh I am sorry, I will just write those sequences again. You see that the imaginary part is real, small, so I just say plot real. You will find you get 2, 5, 7, 9, 1, minus 4, which is the same as what you would have got had you done the direct convolution. Of course, because of 0 padding you get these zeros, but it's the same thing. Why does this happen? Because if you pad enough zeros, if you add a sufficient number of zeros, then you can ensure that the circular convolution and the linear convolution are the same. There is no overlap. Why would you do this rather than linear convolution? The reason is because if you have very long sequences, you know that the complexity of DFT is actually n log n, which means that you can actually get away with a fewer number of computations than doing the convolution using the summation approach, direct approach. And in fact, in many situations in DSPs, they actually do this, they take this approach. So this is also an important property to think about. Okay. So this is what I wanted to say. You can look at more properties in the textbook, and and make sure that you familiarize yourself with this. Also note the connection between the DFT and the DTFT for easily identifying these properties. Thank you.